Hello, flower friends. This is Jen. And most of the people I've been talking to and everything I'm seeing on social media, everybody is freaking out about tariffs. Everybody's freaking out about what they're going to do, how they're going to handle it. And I did an episode, I think about a month ago when this is kind of starting or things were stirring about how to have, like ideas or how to feel like the sky isn't falling when it comes to these tariffs. And I mentioned some just like proactive ways that you could approach this. But today I want to talk about how to have difficult pricing discussions. And this is something that, as a business owner, we're inevitably going to run into because we are dealing with a product that fundamentally is perishable. We're dealing with a product that fundamentally a lot of things can change because of, obviously these tariffs, availability, the farm that we're getting from, the type of flower. And so a lot of times when you're meeting with a client, they have no idea how much flowers cost. So you coming in and go, oh my God, the prices went up. The prices are terrible right now because of all these tariffs. Like that is going to put them into alarm mode. So we want to disarm them. And a lot of times when like somebody doesn't know their budget, I literally straight up will just say, okay, you know what? I completely understand because they'll say they don't know how much flowers cost. There is no guide out there that is a directory. Like when you're shopping for a car, you can log on to a place and look and see how much. Or like Amazon, where you're looking for a lamp and you can go and just look at like 10 different lamps. There just isn't that pricing out there. And I completely understand that makes it difficult to understand what an appropriate budget is. How about we do this? I think I got a really good vibe for the style that you want, for the fullness that you want, for the textures and colors that you want. And I think that you want your wedding to be beautiful, but you don't want to also have it be ostentatious. You don't want it to be overboard. You want it to be beautiful, but not over the top because you are being cognizant of like just being respectful of your budget. And so why don't I do this? Why don't I price these items out at a level that I think that when I come to deliver them, you'll be like, that's beautiful. And I'm going to be like, this is beautiful for me to put on my social media, for me to share it as something I'm proud that I did. But not go to the point where like, whoa, look at all these flowers. Does that sound like the direction from an estimate standpoint that you would like me to take? And they're literally like nodding their head yes. And I go, okay, so I'll just quote these out at a way that I think is going to be really beautiful, fullness, everything that we've kind of talked about is going to match that vibe, but I'm not going to go overboard. Does that sound good to you? Like, I want them to say yes. Because when somebody says yes, like they're putting two of their senses together, their speech is, coming together. So different connections points are being made in their brain. And they're going to acknowledge that they said yes more. So when they get your quote, it's not going to be like, that lady did not listen to me. Did she not hear that I didn't want to go overboard? Because right now they don't know how much overboard costs. Right now they don't know what average costs. So you're telling them that this estimate is average. That might not be in their budget inevitably, but you're at least presenting something average. Does that make sense? So it is a surefire way to have a kind of less adversarial conversation about budgets, but still making sure that you're not going to be producing a subpar product. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, I've had those unrealistic expectation clients that, will creep in and you're for real, like, did you get dropped as a baby? Because you're just like, how do you realistically think that you're going to have 10 bridesmaids, 20 centerpieces, 20 different boutonnieres and corsages, and a ceremony arch for $2,000? Like, we get appalled. We're like, "You're the biggest idiot ever. Like, how can you possibly" like, your eyes are rolling into the back of your head. Your heart is sinking, your gut is twisting whenever you have these conversations. So, here are some things that I do, and I've talked about them before, but I wanna revisit them because with the climate of pricing and everybody being reactivity mode, we need to just be rational. We need to be rational human beings that are help educate our clients. We're not here to be assholes. We're not here to be like, you're an idiot. I mean, sometimes we want to say it, but we want to just educate them. Okay, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're wanting, and I will recap those items to them. You're wanting 10 bridesmaids, your bouquet, the 10 boutonnieres you mentioned, the 10 corsages you mentioned, the asymmetrical arch flowers. Then you're wanting 20 centerpieces, and we kind of talked about a mixture of bud vases, a low floral, and a greenery and candle centerpiece. Am I understanding that correctly? Like, I think that I'm recapping all the items we've discussed. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I don't know if you had a chance to look at my brochure. This is one of the main reasons I love having a brochure that has pricing guidance. In that brochure, I kind of broke down like starting at pricing. So if I do the starting at pricing, and I often would be having this conversation like before via email, before I'm meeting with these people, but in case they got past my steel fortress doors of stupidity, I will just give you guys the benefit of the doubt if your doors aren't like mine to keep those people out. You're wanting those 10 bouquets. If I'm using my starting at pricing, and let's just say we're making a smaller posy at $100 each. So right there, we have $1,000 in bridesmaid bouquets to cover your 10 bridesmaids. Then your bouquet, with that style and everything, if I just say starting at like 250, it could be 300, but let's just say 250. We're at 1250. And then those boutonnieres, if I just say like a really, really simple boutonniere for $20 each, we're at $200 there. So right now we're at 1450. Then if I go and you wanted 10 wrist corsages, if I say $45 a piece for a simple wristlet corsage, we are at $450. So right now we were at 1450. Then let's add that, 450. So we're at $1,900 currently, and we haven't added tax. We haven't added your centerpieces, your ceremony feature, me setting up and delivering anything. Like none of those fees have attached. So I'm just trying to think of how I could make this budget work. And it seems like it's a pretty difficult budget with the volume of items that you're needing. So we could approach this in a couple ways. I think $2,000 with the volume of items definitely is going to probably be on the more impossible-ish end of things, unless we drastically change a lot of the things that we discussed. I could, of course, make things smaller. I could choose more value-based blooms. So I hope you guys heard, I didn't say cheap. I said value-based blooms like carnations, hydrangeas, roses, and then stay away from those ranunculus, butterfly ranunculus, peonies, sweet peas, all those other beautiful things that were in your inspo. And so we simplified all of those blooms to value-based blooms. We made things smaller, and then maybe you guys figure out maybe like half of your centerpieces with some DIY option. And then we do some simple bud vases for 10 of your tables. We put like maybe 2 arch pieces. Uh, I mean, even then, we're probably gonna be closer to $3,500, maybe 3. If we want, we can do the quick math if you want me to get really granular, but we're still really struggling with that $2,000 budget. So, I'm really struggling with how I can help you best because I really wanna make beautiful flowers for you, and I really want your day to be beautiful, but, like, the numbers right now are just not showing me a path. So, like, that was simple. I'm on their side. I want to make this work, but it is fucking impossible. Like, what they want is so unrealistic. They are so out of their gourd crazy not knowing how much these things cost. That is really hard to make. I'm not a magician. I have said I am not a magician before, and I'm not a magician, so I just don't know how to make this work. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. I just don't know how to make this work because what they're asking for is impossible. All right, so that's one like way I handle really unrealistic budgets. And honestly, because of these tariffs are going to affect so many items. Food, catering is going to be affected. I mean, realistically, in a wedding, the goods that they buy, the stationery potentially because of the paper, etc., that is potentially or probably going to increase. Any miscellaneous goods that they're purchasing, like a card box or bridesmaids' gifts or groomsmen's gift, whatever, those are realistically going up. Food is definitely going up because not only most of their ingredients, if they're sourcing externally, they're coming from their spices are coming from wherever. Um, there's just likely going to be affected. But flowers probably are going to have the most drastic or dramatic increase based on so much of that is imported. But with produce and things like that, unless they're buying locally grown for a caterer, that could drastically increase as well. So couples are going to have to start thinking creatively because of these increases. Everything likely. I mean, a DJ, a photographer, a officiant, a venue, like, I don't see, obviously, tariffs affecting those type of items. I mean, they could just because everybody's like, "My stuff costs more, I'm gonna raise my prices." That could, of course, happen, but the majority of the more consumption-based, like the flowers, the product-based, the food, those are gonna be affected. So if somebody went into their wedding with a $30,000 budget or 50 or $75,000 budget, they potentially are going to have to figure out with these increased expenses overall, how are they going to make that work? And that is potentially going to impact their available floral budget. So that's our job to think creative. That is our job to like think of, okay, how could we do this to be, a little bit more value based, maybe on a third of their centerpieces? Or could we maybe not do something like if they're wanting bathroom flowers, or they're wanting a guest book arrangement, skip that. Skip those items and invest your budget where it is more impactful. Those kind of conversations are inevitably, we are going to face that. So when you're facing that, just say, you know what, I completely understand, you're working with a limited budget based on the current state of everything. I want to make sure I'm delivering the best value for you, or I want to make sure that your wedding is as beautiful as you have pictured, but try to stay in your budget. So, is it more important? And this is another question that I ask all the time. Is your floral vision more important or is your budget? So, that is a great way to kind of get off course to really understand the core. When you're talking with somebody and they're like all of a sudden showing you shit from Pinterest that is a football player's wedding, that table centerpiece alone was probably $2,000 and they got a $7,000 budget and they just want these grand things. If that is the case, I ask that question, like, right away. I'm like, "You know what? You're showing me some things that really speak to a premium budget." I'm guessing that is I even joke, I'm guessing that is some football players, Minnesota Vikings, whatever, wedding that they just went all in on, and that table is probably $2,000 at least. And, from what you shared with me, your $7,000 budget and all the items, like, I really think that that is not going to fit in our budget. So, is your budget more important or your floral vision? Because I can I give you ideas and things like that to help, like, come up with something fun that is either more in your budget, or if you want, I can quote things accordingly if you have flexibility, not me just doing work. You wanna make sure you're just not signing up to do a million quotes. If you have some flexibility in your budget, um, I think that this conversation is better. Pricing conversations are 10 times better to have during your consultation than when you send, like, whatever, you send, your estimate over, you send your proposal, you send your honeybook proposal over, and then they come unglued because they feel like you didn't listen to them. They feel like, "Did she hear anything I said during our consultation?" Because I told her that my $5,000 budget was really important. And if that happened, you wanna make sure that you're really being transparent about what is possible, and part of that understanding and part of being able to have those conversations is really understanding your base pricing, and I did an episode last week on base pricing, and that is critical for you to understand base pricing, because if you don't have your base pricing nailed down, you can't have these conversations. You can't say, "I can do a bridal bouquet or a bridesmaid for X amount. I can do a compote, or I can do bud vases, or I can do this starting at this." If you don't know you're starting at pricing, when you're trying to do what I call, like, floral math of their items, how I ran through, like, 10 bouquets, smaller bridesmaids, $100. If you don't know that you can do a bridesmaid bouquet for $100, it might not be the one that they want. It might be, your base recipe bouquet, but if you don't know that, you can't have that conversation. So also kind of understanding that base pricing is critical. The next, like, difficult conversation in pricing that I want to talk about is when they are showing you premium blooms. I often will draw parallels to other flowers, and I talk about value. I don't talk about something being cheap, something being inexpensive. I say, "You know what? Those are absolutely stunning." But just so you understand from a cost perspective, that peony could potentially be the cost of 3 of the roses. So 3 roses and that space that fills, or 1 peony. I'm drawing a parallel between value. I actually did this when my daughter was really in Rainbow High dolls. They're horrible, by the way. They look like these trampy little dolls, but she loved them for a while. And anytime she was asking for something, like, I would draw, "Did you know that cost 5 Rainbow High dolls? 5 Rainbow High dolls, 10 Rainbow High dolls." Like, she'd be asking for something bigger. I was like, "That's 10 Rainbow High dolls." Like, do you, because, like, the understanding when somebody's, like, speaking, "Okay, I can visualize a rose. Would I rather have 3 roses for the same cost as 1 peony?" And the answer might not be, "Yes, I want the peony," or, "Yes, I want the roses." So you don't know, but at least you're educating them, that this is, what they cost. You're not even saying the cost, $5 wholesale, $15, whatever. You're just like, I can in my head draw a parallel. I can get a rose for $1.65. Normally, a peony, let's just say right now, peonies are $5 to $6 a stem. So I could get 4 roses for essentially 1 peony right now. in peony season, locally grown peony season, I could get, let's just say, like 3 roses or 2 roses. It ebbs and flows of when there are flushes of flowers, when, flowers are better value because they are locally sourced and not imported, etc. So those are also conversations that I think could be helpful, and conversations that really just show that you are trying to be helpful. At the end of a consultation, I want that person to be like, they really want to figure something out for me. They're excited about my wedding. They're like, I'm just excited about their excitement. I don't know if you have had this experience, but like we recently bought a couch and a little like sofa chair. And we went to like 2 different furniture stores. And even at one furniture store, we talked to several different people. And one of them, I was just like, I really liked the dude, like good energy, good everything. And then there was like a person that was on an upper level, and I like wanted to stab her with a dull spoon because she had like the personality and excitement of a turtle. Like, don't be the turtle. Be the person who is you're selling. You're a small business owner. And what's hard with so many creatives are introverts. We are not, well, I am not an introvert. I am definitely an extrovert. But I have a very introverted daughter. I have a very introverted husband. I have a very extroverted little boy. But I know so many wedding professionals that are so introverted. We are in extroverted jobs. So if meeting with someone depletes you, you need to make sure that you buck up, Buttercup, right before that consultation and you bring your game face. Like, that energy needs to come out. I want them to be like, I fucking love that person. I want at the end of your consultation for somebody to be like, oh my God, excitement will help compensate for pricing issues. Excitement, enthusiasm, passion, flexibility, willingness, all will help. For real. Like, this will be huge. You need to have that flexibility, that drive of really going the extra mile and having that customer service, being excited about their wedding, excited about their designs, excited about their concepts. Anytime that I lose a client, like they go in a different direction, the one time a year that I get ghosted by somebody because I really didn't frickin' like them and they didn't make it past, they made it past my doors, my fortress of my bullshit radar of people that I probably am not gonna like working with somehow. Like, I am I I didn't have great energy because I right away fed off of their energy being crap. Or I have, after having a consult, quoted something higher because I didn't like their energy so much that I probably don't want to be their florist. Therefore, I'm going to charge more because I just didn't feel good. Feels gross. They're just, I don't want to work with them. And so if that is a place that you're at with a client, like that's okay. But your normal everyday self should be a shining frickin' star that, like, during your consultation, you show up. And if you are that creative introvert, you need to figure out how to psych yourself up before that consult because that is going to help you overcome pricing. Enthusiasm sells. Excitement sells. Passion sells. So those are some of the difficult conversations. Now let's talk about, like, especially right now when everybody's in freak out mode about pricing and, everybody's just like kind of sideways. People still are going to get married, everybody. They might have less flowers. They might have the same budget and just have less flowers. We have the autonomy to be creative and come up with solutions. Pin frogs. They require way less flowers, you guys. Foam free, great solution for budgets. I invested in some trays from Camilla Supply out of Canada, and I can use, like, they're beautiful. They have about a 9-inch, 10-inch footprint, so they're big, and I can put a couple pin frogs in there, and they're beautiful. Like, that is a great solution. So if you are looking for, like, creative solutions, you might come up with one when the other florist they met with, or the other two, quoted exactly what their Pinterest said that they can't afford. So that then they are gonna be like, "I can't afford this florist." Not, "Hey, I really love the ideas this florist came up with, and I love how flexible they are and how they really wanted to help me and make my budget a reality." Because the people understand that flower prices are going up. And if they don't, we don't need to, like, scream and shout from the rooftops. Like, we just need to think creatively. This is the perfect time if you've been wanting to go to an airier design style to institute an airier design style, because air sells. Air makes things look bigger and you use less product. Like those artful, beautiful designs that we see all over Pinterest and see all over Instagram, they use less product usually because they're having, artful, beautiful blooms kind of cascading out all over the place. And when you do that, you're using less. So maybe now is a great time to just, how could I have more artful designs? What if instead of, compacting roses down at the bottom, you use carnations? How could you think creatively? Like, what if you had 4 hydrangeas at the base of a compote and then all your other flowers were just airier? So you covered all your mechanics, but then you just are selling the air of the blooms above and then investing in more premium blooms on the blooms above. Like, what would that look like? What would it look like to be an airier designer if that's something that you are really drawn to? Like, all of that is possible. I hope these little strategies or word tracks are helpful. I know that this is a difficult time and I see you, and I know that it can be stressful, but I rem I mean, you guys, we have gone through so much. COVID, like, this ain't nothing on COVID, you guys. Like, just think, we didn't even have the ability to have, like, 25 people in a room. We can have 25 people in a room right now. We just need to figure out how we can get the flowers that fit in their budget, that are gonna be beautiful, and we're not stressed out about it. It's that easy. This can be easy. Choose easy. Choose peace. Choose to be like a solution provider and have the energy of a solution provider. I see so many people just absolutely losing their shit right now. And when I see those people, I'm just like, it fucking sucks to be you. Like, that must be exhausting, running around and defending, tariffs. Like, uh, why? Why get people worked up when they don't need to be? When you don't, and speaking from someone who sold, I mean, I was in sales for 17 years before I went all in on the floral business. And so I was selling to people who sold for a living. So like I've taken all the sales training. Like I I have sold, I used to sell, when I sold cars, I sold 100 cars a year on a really, really shitty year, but I normally sold about 200 to 250. So like when I started, I was like still selling a ton, but like I got up to 200, 250. I was in the 300 to 350 club. Like that is a lot of people. Like that is I had my selling shoes on all the time. I mean, and even in the worst year when a million things went wrong, I mean, I still was at like, selling 20 cars a month. And that, I know that there's no reference, but that's a lot. So I know inviting panic is not helpful. I mean, you can't avoid that this is happening. And so if you want to use that, like, hey, our prices are going up, like, of course, like, ooh, got it. Maybe I should wait to reach out with them because they're probably really worried. And then all of a sudden, Trump's going to make some agreement in a week and then they're going to charge me higher prices. Or if you want to even say, I sent a quote to a wedding planner today and I said, just to let you know, this is reflecting all the craziness that's going on with tariffs right now, as long as it stays constant with what they're saying right now. So you don't have to worry about any surprises. Like, I'm just making it funny. Like, hey, I quoted crazy. I quoted what's the state of the world. So you don't have to worry that you're going to have to go back to your client and ask for more money because that would suck. So I just like lovingly just said, hey, I already took care of that. And I figured out how to be in their budget. So thank you so much for listening, flower friend, and you have an amazing flower filled day.